KILR. Killer game.
Cessna 72 Lima, taxi to runway 36. Hold short of the active.
72 Lima, roger.
Aurora Tower, Piper 56 Whiskey, turning base, runway 36, full stop. Roger, Piper 56 Whiskey, wind 020 at 5, you're clear to land. 56 Whiskey. Aurora Tower, Piper 56 Whiskey, short final, runway 36. Roger, 56 Whiskey. Cessna 72 Lima, taxi into position and hold.
72 Lima, roger.
Seven 2 Lima, cleared for takeoff, runway 36, wind 025 at 5.
72 Lima is rolling.
Lima, contact departure control at 119.6. Good day, sir.
119.6, 72 Lima, good day.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome to the World Tour featuring ProPilot 99. It's not all over the world, but we got a little bit more on this one than what we had on ProPilot and ProPilot USA. And you might have some questions as in, okay, what's the difference between all these ProPilots? Well, let's go ahead and go over that. So, the very first ProPilot, Sierra ProPilot to be specific, right here. You may also find this with 98 in the corner. This was not created by Sierra, but done by the people by SubLogic, okay? Like the original people that did Flight Simulator. And they put this out in, it was 1997. And you know, it was a fair release. It had its problems, like brakes not working. But there were 3 patches that were released. And it added an additional airplane, the Cessna Skyhawk 172R. And so when you patched it up, that became the default plane. But then there was this ProPilot USA. So you're thinking, okay, what's this? Does this, because the ProPilot only had the USA in it with a little bit of Canada. What about ProPilot USA? Does it focus more on the USA? Nope, it's pretty much the same thing. If you were to take ProPilot and patch it up and add a ability where you've got 10 scenic flights that you can choose from just to kind of jump in and see some scenery, that's this right here. It doesn't add any additional airports or anything like that. One of the big things that annoyed me in ProPilot was that Greater Kankakee is not in there. And you would think that the people behind Flight Simulator, SubLogic, would have that airport in the simulator. It dates all the way back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 1. Kankakee was there, and it's been in Flight Simulator ever since. Why would they leave that out? That makes no sense to me. Meigs is in there, but Kankakee is not. Champagne is there, but Kankakee is not. Why? How could they miss something like that? So I had hoped that with ProPilot USA, maybe they would have added it in there. Nope, not in there. ProPilot USA is basically just a fully patched version of ProPilot, nice and cleaned up. I do have a series going on with ProPilot USA, and I will say that the experience has been pleasant. I haven't had too much of a good time with the first ProPilot one, but I am liking ProPilot USA. For some reason, that one seems to be working well. And I'm referring to just everything, as far as the aircraft, the scenery. There's ATC, verbal ATC, and it just seems to work the way it should. The ProPilot one, it's like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. As far as the ATC, yeah, it gets really annoying. So anyway, now we're going to jump into this right here, ProPilot 99, or, you know, what you see on your screen right there. What's the difference? Again, not much. It has the USA, just like these do. It does add a few more Canada airports in there that weren't there before, and we'll go over that. It adds Western Europe. As you'll see, there's an option here for European flight, and we'll take a look at that. This, ooh, it's like popping popcorn. Okay, anyway, but everything else is the same. Everything works the same. It's like all the same menu options. It's all the same planes. The flight planning works the same. The ATC is the same. Although they've added voices. From what I can tell, they've added voices, more voices into the ProPilot 99. So at least there's a little bit more variety. And then one of the other things is that this is supposed to take advantage of 3D acceleration, 3D FX. Except I've not been able to get it to work. I've not been able to get that 3D acceleration to work. I have tried. What you're looking at right now, this is in PCM. PC emulator. I'm going to show you a few things as far as the 3D FX. I've tried it in this. I've tried it on Windows 7 with Glide Wrapper. It's supposed to be compatible with Glide Wrapper. When you start, you have to start the program. You have to put it in full screen mode. Okay, did that. The 3D FX logo pops up just like it should, and then it spits out an error saying, "Oh, this is illegal," or I don't know, like made an illegal argument or something. I don't know, but then it closed. So okay, I'll try it on Windows 10. Once again, put it in full screen mode. 3D FX logo pops up. Oh, all looks good. The logo, goes off, and so does ProPilot. It it completely disappears. Where the other one at least put up an error, I didn't even get that benefit in Windows 10. It just shut it off. So, and then here, obviously, it's not going to work in VMware because it's a virtual machine. So PC emulator, where you can emulate Voodoo graphics, it won't see it. It doesn't recognize it. And there's like nothing in the options or settings to be able to select it. You're kind of like depending on it to realize you got Voodoo 3DFX graphics, on your system, And if it doesn't play nice and doesn't like you, well, too bad. You're going to be stuck with heavily pixelated graphics that look like absolute garbage. And we'll get into that. I've done some test flights on this, and I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with the graphics. I think they're a step down from what was in ProPilot USA. So I'm going to explain some of my thoughts here.
You're cleared for takeoff. Go.
Okay, so we are here and we're loaded in Europe. I'm going to go ahead and go to the settings. Now I'm going to show you here. It's in full screen. You see that? I'll go ahead and take it off. All right. So this would be like the software rendering, you know, all the it's pixelated and stuff. So you're supposed to put it into full screen mode. Okay. And it looks it just looks the same. It looks the same. Now if I were to go here and move this down, okay, you can see my my Windows 98 here. I managed to get Flight Simulator 2000 working with Voodoo graphics, and it looks great. It looks great. It actually runs decently, kind of, in PC emulator. It's not smooth, but it works and at least looks good. Now, let me just go ahead and pull up DiAG, okay, DirectX. So you can see I've got two different displays showing here. It's DirectX 8. Here's display 1. I've got ATI Graphics Pro Turbo PCI. That's what I'm emulating right there. Display number 2. Well, there it is. 3DFX Interactive DirectX Driver. Main driver right there. Everything's enabled. You can see that. If we test it, now you can see it works. It's doing something. Did you see a spinning cube? Yes, I did. All right, we're going to cancel that. So anyway, you can see that it's there. If we go into the settings and take a look at the device manager, we got our display adapter right up here, ATI Graphics Pro. And then if you scroll down here, under Sound, Video, and Game Controllers, boom, there it is. 3DFX Voodoo. So it's there. It sees it. We can go to Properties, and it says, hey, this device is working properly. So it's here. It's in here. But ProPilot's not seeing it. Why? I don't know. I don't know why it's not seeing it. I'd like it to see it, but it's just not seeing it. Anyway, so goes that. We're here. I'll get into some more in regards to what this should like. There is an individual who did manage to record some footage from ProPilot 99 with 3D acceleration, so I will show that here in a moment. But let's go ahead and go into Position Aircraft, and that way we can pull up the Europe map. So this is the Europe map. This is new. I thought maybe this map was available as a download with ProPilot and ProPilot USA. I saw a reference to a download that you could install with it, but I've not been able to find it. And then again, I don't know if it was referring to ProPilot 99 as an update to Europe. I don't know. But we have Europe here. You can see the different countries that we've got. If we go ahead and click on this icon here, show airports, that's how many airports are available. All these little nice little dots. I'm getting all kinds of messages on my phone. So there's pretty wide coverage in Europe. I mean, there's enough here to, I don't know, keep you busy, keep you flying. And the airport that you default to in Europe is LFPV. This is, and forgive me on the pronunciation, Toussaint-le-Noble or Noble Airport. It's a regional airport in France. It supports general aviation with no commercial airline service, which, well, I guess that's appropriate because there are no airlines in propilot. It's all general aviation. It is the most active airfield for general aviation in France, with a record of 210,000 movements. So this is where you start off in Europe, or you can select whatever location you want to select. So now we're going to go ahead and click on USA flight, just so we can kind of go over some of the additional things.
You're cleared for takeoff.
So here we are in the United States. You're being loaded up here with the Cessna 172. This is not the 172R. Now they're calling it the 172P. One thing that's interesting, though, is that this has got that little curve, the curve in the dash, that has been kind of like a signature curve that went back all the way to Microsoft Flight Simulator 1. So thought that was a nice touch. This is new, though. Just like in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can sit here and drag this down. Well, it stretches the top. Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't do that. But you can at least change and make this bigger if you want. And you can still use the F7. If you hit F7, makes it shorter. You look out the front of the aircraft there and look at the nice blocky clouds. And then nothing. Well, scenery. And then back to this. Now, another new thing that they've added is on the exterior views. Got a nice blotch of a sun right there. If you hold your shift key and use your arrows, you can now scroll around, which I think that's kind of nice. That was not available before. You had to actually go into your camera settings and manually change the angle and the height and all that wonderful stuff. But at least now you can rotate around your aircraft. So that's kind of nice. Now, for those of you who have played propilot in the past, you may be looking at this airport thinking, well, this doesn't look like the same airport. Yeah, and you're right. It's not. You default to a different location than before. Before it was San Francisco, and now it's Salt Lake City. So this is where you'll be if you start off in the U.S. Now, as far as airports, there are a little bit more airports that are showing. That's weird. I remember seeing some up here before. They don't seem to be showing up there now. Oh, those are VORs. That's why. Ah, okay. When I was looking at this before, I was getting confused. I had this on, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a few more airports up here. No, those are VORs. Those are not airports. There may be a few extra airports up in this area, but for the most part, this is all the same like it has been before. And as far as Kankakee, in case you haven't seen my other videos, I'm going to zoom in here so that way you can take a look. Now right here, this is the river. This is the river where Kankakee is at. You don't see anything there. There's Joliet, there's Lewis, there's Lansing, Those are all airports that we've been to in the other simulators and that we will be going to in this simulator. Now, if I turn on the VORs, there is Kankakee right there, IKK. That's just a VOR, but there's no airport. So, boo. Boo on you guys, Sierra, or Dynamex now, whatever they were being called at the time. Some other new items that are in propilot 99. One is requesting landing assistance when approaching a controlled airport. You can now initiate a landing sequence simply by listening to the ATIS broadcast on your comm radio, even if you aren't on a flight plan. So I've moved this to Merrill Meigs, which is where we're going to be starting the flight. And I've got it in slew mode, so that way I can kind of move up, and you can just take a look at these graphics, and we'll compare them to what it would look like if you were using 3D acceleration. So you can see how pixelated these graphics are. This is more pixelated than what it was in propilot and propilot USA. Something else that I've noticed also is that the photorealistic terrain around the city is gone. It's not there anymore. Now you're seeing like mostly green instead of what you would think you would see when you see a city. And I am wondering if all of that data was removed so they could add more airports. Because this still comes on 2 CD-ROMs, just like propilot and propilot USA. Doesn't come on an additional one, it comes on 2. And so now I don't know for a fact because I haven't checked every major US city. There was something like 29 US cities that had photorealistic detail. But my guess is that they removed that data so that way they could add Western Europe. That's my theory. But if you take a look at the clouds, you can see how, I mean, they look okay, but they don't look as good as they could look. Now, let me go ahead and show you footage from this video that I had found. Okay, so here is the video that I was referring to. You can see Meigs right here in front. Look at the clouds. They're nice and smooth. Look at the runway. It's nice and smooth, and so are the lines. Well, that line disappeared there. Although the guy who made the video had said that he did experience some kinds of glitches. He managed to get this working in Windows 8.1 with Glide Wrapper. And like I said, I have tried. But you can see the terrain here. It's smoothed out. So yeah, it's kind of like smoothing out the pixels as if you were doing, I don't know, watercolor painting or something, and smoothing everything out. Hey, even the moon's got a little bit of texture there. So you can kind of see what's going on here. And now we're just kind of moving in to the landing at Merrill Meigs. So you can see how things are. It looks nice and cleaned up, although it's kind of blurred also. Okay, and here we are back in propilot 99 as far as the one that I've got running here on PC emulator, and you can see the difference between the 3D accelerated version and the unaccelerated version. So, and there is no way to smooth this out other than the 3DFX. As you can see, some of these pixels are just really, really, really big. But enough of the depressing stuff. Let's go ahead and actually get into what we're going to be doing as far as this flight is concerned. And I'm going to be switching over to VMware because I don't want the audio to sit there and skip and stutter and all that wonderful stuff that seems to happen on PC Emulator. Here we are, folks. propilot 99. Of course, we're right here at Meigs Field. This is where we start off. This is what we've been doing for all the simulators. And one of these days, hopefully, we'll do the same thing for Flight Simulator 2020. I got a feeling it's probably not going to be there to start off with because they're going to want to do the realism thing. But it'd be kind of cool if they had like an option to kind of turn it on and off. But anyway, maybe... You know, they've been saying that it's based off of Flight Simulator 10, even though it's got, you know, all new game engine. But that way, you know, third-party developers will have an easier time trying to port their stuff. So hopefully Orbix will port their Meigs Field over to Flight Simulator 2020. That would be sweet. And once they do that... yeah, you better believe we're going to be doing a world tour with that one. All right. So, here we are. Meigs Field. The dash is a little different because this time around, we're going to be flying my favorite plane, which is the... wow. Oh, okay. That's a little better. It is the Bonanza V35. This is my favorite plane. If I was to buy a plane, it would be this one. I love this plane. And you can probably guess it's because of the V-wing, the V-tail. I just think it's unique. I think it's cool. It reminds me of one of the fighter jets. Was it the F-18? I think the F-18 had the V-wing. And from what I remember reading, they were trying with this airplane. They were trying to catch the attention of like fighter pilots and retired pilots. So either way, it's one of my favorite planes. I happen to have it for, I think, Flight Simulator 2000, but I definitely have it for FSX, and I have it for Prepared, and I've also got it for, no, I don't have, I thought I had it. I don't have it for X-Plane. But anyway, this is where we're at. And this is what we got, and that's how it is. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to mention is in regards to installing propilot. Now, I want to let you know that when you install it, you're going to want to install it with the complete option. There's one called custom, and I usually do that for installs. Don't do it for this one. What winds up happening is it's going to try to access scenery, and like every time you look out the window, it's going to try to access the CD-ROM, and it pauses. It pauses like every 10 seconds or so. I actually had recorded a video to start off with the ProFlight 99, and I just hated it because of the pauses in it. And then I went back and did a reinstall with the complete option. No problems whatsoever. It's not asking me for the CD-ROM. Life is good. with the exception that we don't have 3D acceleration. If we just had the 3D acceleration, this would be great. But then again, I don't know. We've got textures. I mean, the clouds have a little bit of texture to it. You know, it's just not, you know, completely smooth. But still, I would have liked to have had the option for it. But it is what it is. If by chance you have ProFlight 99 and you do have the 3D acceleration working on it, please let me know what your setup is. Maybe you're doing on an actual real machine, or maybe you're using it in PC emulator. If so, what did you do? How did you get it to work? Did you actually install Voodoo drivers for it, or did you just let Windows 98 or 95 do it for you? Perhaps you're doing this in DOSBox and you did an install of Windows 95 on that. Whatever it is, let me know what it is that you did. I'm very interested. I've only seen a couple of videos for ProFlight 99, ProPilot 99. So I'm getting that ProFlight confused with Flight Simulator. But one video, which I was showing clips of, has a 3D acceleration, and then there's another one where the guy was just demoing it, and it kept shutting off on him because he didn't realize that he had to switch his fuel tanks on. So it was kind of funny. But anyway, let's go ahead and do our flight plan. So this is just the same as ProPilot and ProPilot USA. We go over here. We're going to click IFR. I'm wondering if VFR is actually fixed now. I set this down low because they tend to throw you, the ATC tends to throw you high as it is. Click next, and we will type in CG. Well, I have to click on here, otherwise it likes to ding at me. KCGX, and we'll type in, well, no K's, Chicago O'Hare. Okay, that looks like a complete mess. That's because the ILSs are tagged on. We'll turn that off. Now here's something that's different from the previous ProPilots. When doing a flight plan, it's actually including the VOR near the airport, and you'll see that. So it's taking you to the VOR and then taking you to the airport. At least it looks simple. It won't be that simple when we start flying it. The ATC tends to route you around the airport like maybe 1.5 times before they have you land. So this flight will be a little longer than you expect. The first time I played, I thought it was just broke, that they were just routing me around and round and round. And I did another flight all the way to Champaign, and again they were rotating me around, but I got to a certain part to where they were saying, okay, you're clear for the ILS. But it's at that time that I had to turn towards the runway and take it, because otherwise I'd be flying forever and they would never talk to me again. And it wasn't like that on the first two ProPilots. They actually directed you on final, and they don't do it on this one. So you got to be careful. And I wasn't planning on doing the flight plan on this one, and I decided, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of my views on this first video, and I want to give you guys an honest experience of what you would see if you actually did a flight. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Now, again, just like the previous Pro pilots, it never has clear weather. It's either overcast or broken clouds. I'll click this and you can see for yourself that it's always broken or overcast, and that's kind of annoying. Another thing too is that Meigs, it seems to always want to put me on runway 18 instead of 36. Even if the surface winds are going the direction that you think you would. You're supposed to be flying against the wind, not with it. At least that's what I remember reading. So something like 130 degrees, we should be taking runway 360. But I've been getting runway not 360, 36. I'm getting runway 18, whether the degrees are 360 or whether they're close to 180. I'm getting it both ways, and it's really annoying. But anyway, we'll go ahead and click next, and you'll see that it's got us from Meigs to the VOR to the airport. And like I was saying, here we are on the opposite side of the runway, and they're going to have us take off from 18. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go all the way to the end and turn around and I was going to say launch. Yeah, we're going to launch after from runway 36, like we're in some type of spaceship or something. But I want to take off on 36 because, I don't know, that's just the default runway that you always take off from. But let's go ahead and turn everything on here. Should be getting ATIS information.
Time 1856 Zulu weather, wind 130 at 2, visibility 10.
And they did add more voices.
Temperature 2.14, altimeter 29995, landing and departing runway.
But in the files, they have it all compressed together. They don't have them separate, so
contact approach on 118.4.
Unfortunately, other than adding the pilot voice, I can't add any others.
Airport information Victor, time 1856 Zulu weather, wind 1.
Now by default, the co-pilot will be automatically turned on.
Ground Bonanza Niner 6210 Sierra with information Victor. Request clearance to Oscar Romeo Delta.
That's the co-pilot.
621 Sierra, clear to Oscar Romeo Delta via radar vectors to Oscar Romeo Delta. Direct Oscar Romeo Delta, climb and maintain 2000, departure frequency 118.4.
Here, dual flight, that's where you select the co-pilot.
Maintain 2000, squawk 4212, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
And he goes ahead and he changes the transponder and the radios and everything. You don't even need to do that.
Bonanza Niner 621 Sierra, request taxi for takeoff.
Bonanza Niner 621 Sierra, taxi to runway 18. Hold short of the active.
Taxi to runway 18 and hold short, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Now, we got to remember, we got to turn the fuel tank on. It's pointing to
Bonanza
off.
21 Sierra, contact tower on 121.3. Good day.
Now you can do this.
Tower at 121.3, Bonanza 21 Sierra. Good day.
This is now the Bonanza does not have a both selection, so
Tower at Bonanza
hit the F key,
61 Sierra.
and we'll go to left.
Short of 18.
Bonanza Niner 621 Sierra, taxi into position and hold runway 18.
Position and hold, runway 18, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Okay, and I'm going to warn you, the turning on this, it does not turn very well. It turned pretty good on the ProPilot and ProPilot USA. On this one, oh, it's like a car without power steering.
Bonanza 21 Sierra, cleared for takeoff, runway 18.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 18.
I wasn't even in position. I just sat here. I was not even in position. Okay, so I'm going to start my turn now. Now I'm happy to say, compared to propilot without the patches, the brakes actually work. The ground movement works, so now you can taxi. You know, it's not going to slide you sideways. And some of the airports actually do have taxiways now. Meigs doesn't. We have kind of a gray texture thing over here. So we'll just hop on over here. Now I turned crash detection off because they like to throw you out in the ocean when you after you put your flight plan on, and well, you know, I don't know Bonanzas with skis on them. We have a special Bonanza. All of the keys on the keyboard are the same as they have been on the previous two Pro pilots. So if you're used to that, you'll be able to jump right into this.
907 Alpha, clear to turn left base for 18.
Cessna 907 Alpha.
See, the clouds don't look too bad. It's the textures on the ground that just... I mean, look at it. They're all tiles. They look like tiles. They did not look like that on the previous two Pro pilots. So, this is very disappointing. Like I was saying, on the previous Pro pilots, one of their advertised things that they did on the box was like 29 cities with photorealism. Now, I haven't checked out all the cities. Chicago was one of them, and all the city photorealism is just not here.
Bonanza 21 Sierra, expedite takeoff.
Roger, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Why? I'm not in the way. I'm over here on the tiles. I'm admiring the tiled ground. And because of the way these textures are done, like very, very low resolution, that may be another way that they were able to get Western Europe all and USA all fitting on the same CD-ROM by lowering the texture quality. And I don't know if I like that trade-off, because yeah, you can fly in Western Europe, but the textures are probably going to look just as ugly. So it's relying on the 3D acceleration to smooth all that out. And you saw from the can you see part of the taxiway there? I'm like pointing at the screen, and you can't really see me pointing at the screen. Now, I am doing a hard turn here. You see how sluggish this thing is? And I had the same problem on a Cessna, too, just so you know. It's not just a Bonanza. We may wind up out in Lake Michigan here. The other times that I've played, I wound up in Lake Michigan. Yeah, see this? See how sluggish this is? See, I'm way out here. Oh, left brake, that would help. Okay, slow down. Okay, so remember your brakes. That looks like that actually helps. Yeah, that helps a lot. I don't know, maybe that's realistic for, what the heck am I doing here?
Cessna 907 Alpha, cleared for the touch and go runway 18.
Cessna 907 Alpha.
There's a plane coming in. I guess we better take off. Yeah, I see him. Do you see him? He's right up there. Hi!
Cessna 907 Alpha, fly runway heading and continue climb.
Cessna 907 Alpha.
Okay, landing gear is up. We're going to fly through downtown. That's what we've been doing on the other simulators as well. Yeah, the textures on the buildings are much better on the regular ProPilot. With the exception of the original ProPilot. They all look like red bricks. If you patch it, it actually looks better. Now, ProPilot 2000, I can't vouch for that yet because I don't have it. It is on my list to get.
Bonanza 21 Sierra, contact departure on 118.4. G'day.
Maybe
Contact
it'll look
118.4, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
better.
Good day.
I don't know.
Departure, Bonanza 90621 Sierra.
Bonanza 90621 Sierra, radar contact, receive directive Oscar Romeo Delta.
Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Bonanza 21 Sierra, contact approach on 119.0. Good day.
F8 will
Contact approach.
pull up our
119.0,
GPS.
Bonanza 21 Sierra. Good day.
We can turn ourselves to match our
Airport information.
Flight
Victor,
plan.
Time 1856. Zulu weather. Wind 130 at 2. Visibility 10. View 32,000. Temperature 2.14. Altimeter 29905. Landing and departing runway 14. Right. Departures contact clearance delivery.
Man, we're going fast.
1.6. Arrivals contact approach on 119.0. Advise controller on initial contact. You have information, Victor. Airport information, Victor. Time 1856. Zulu weather. Wind 130 at 2. Visibility 10.
Approach, Bonanza 90621 Sierra. Inbound for landing with Victor.
Bonanza 90621 Sierra. Expect vectors for approach runway 14. Right. Squawk 5363.
Expect vectors for 14, right, squawk, 5363, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Autopilot tends to work a little better too. Okay, so there's the airport. See, and again, the way this is rendered by software, the airport just is... From a distance, it just doesn't look the greatest. go ahead and drop thing of flaps here. See, and you can see the airport. And what we couldn't do before, now we can see, we can move around the plane, which is really cool. Can't move up or under. But you see that? Got taxiways now. You can taxi your way up to the terminals. So that's nice. And there are textures. I just, compared to the old textures, this just doesn't look like a city. There's too much green. Now imagine if that was all smoothed out. I'm going to get us leveled off at 3,000. Because we may be at that for a little while. And you'll see what I mean. It's like they put you in a holding pattern almost every single time. And then they take you... Well, they're going to take you around anyway. But then they like move you to base and...
Descend and maintain 3,000.
Ascend and maintain 3,000. Bonanza 210.
Yeah, that's what I'm attempting to do. We'll take a look outside the airplane once again. And we're flying right over... what's up with the... Oh, I guess that's supposed to be grass. I'm like looking at this right here. I'm like, what in the world is that? Maybe it's a golf course. They got a golf course there on at the airport. But this looks so. This at least looks better than ProPilot USA. And it's not the only one. Champaign also had taxiways too. Now, as far as all the other airports, don't know. We'll find out when we start flying through these. I can tell you what doesn't have taxiways. Greater Kankakee. It don't have runways either. It's got a VOR, and that's all it's got. Am I bitter? Yeah. It's the one airport that I expected would be there. I can understand if the tiny little airports isn't in there. I don't think Meigs Field is going to be in here. It wasn't in the other two. But Greater Kankakee, I mean, that's like an insult. It's like, how could you? How could you? Still going much more faster than what I would want. Now this does play fine in Windows 7. And it will play fine in Windows 10 as well. So you can do it, You know, you don't have to do it in VMware. You can play it on Windows 7 and Windows 10. Should have no problem. As a matter of fact, the audio clips will sound better also. And we might do that. I might just do these on native on Windows 7. And if I happen to be doing prepared P3D videos, which is on Windows 7 for me.
21 Sierra, turn left heading 220.
Turn left, heading 220, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Then I might do a few more ProPilot episodes. I don't know. Would you want to see this in the 3D accelerated mode? Or, you know, or is this fine? You know, do you guys just like it the way it is? These clouds up here don't look too bad. It's when they're in the distance and it's got that kind of flickery mosaic texture thing going on. And there are checklists that you can follow. I don't think it matters. I think you just jump in the plane and fly it. It's not like their reality expansion pack for the planes on X-Plane or the A2A planes, which the Bonanza V35 that I have is the A2A AccuSim version. And the FSX and the prepared are two different files. Just because one is, I think one of them is 64-bit.
Turn left, heading 140, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Yeah, the one for prepared is programmed a little differently. For one thing, it has rain on the windshield. And that is a really nice touch. If you'd like to see it, I have a cinematic of prepared P3D. It's called this. It's like nighttime, and there's like someone out there shining their headlights and stuff. Escape from Hurricane Dorian. I was looking for a challenge. I've got. Man, what was it? Not Skyforce. I have Skyforce 3D, but the other one, the other cloud one. I can't even think of what it is now. It's got a better weather generator, but and the historic weather. But I loaded that up. I wanted to get a challenge of actually flying out of the hurricane. And I thought it would be interesting to, as you're flying, you start seeing, you know, the clouds start to thin out. But I used the V35 on that, and it's got rain on the windshield. So if you're interested in seeing what it looks like, check out that cinematic. And there's also music that I composed. It doesn't play throughout the entire video. I mean, it's like a 3-4 hour video because it's the entire flight from the Bahamas to Montgomery, Alabama. Oh, and it uses Mega Scenery Earth. But yeah, the music that I composed for it there's like certain areas of the video where I've got some music segments. And the videos have a chapter selection in the description field, so you can just jump to the area that you want to go to, or if you want to watch the whole thing, then you can stop at one point, come back, click on the chapter that you left off. And I try to keep you guys in mind, you know, when it comes to those videos, because I know kind of sitting down, and who's going to sit down and watch a 4-hour video? But on the cinematics, not really designed to sit there and, you know, stare at your screen, you know, for 4 or 5 hours. The idea of the flights, it's kind of like ASMR. Not this video. The ones where I'm talking is not really ASMR, unless my voice soothes you. It's like, yes, we're flying and everything is good. Would you like some candy? Let me just open this wrapper. Right over here on your right side of your ear. Now we're going to move it to your left side. Some of those ASMR videos are just weird. But the cinematic ones that I've got, I don't know, you may find them relaxing. Just have it on, you know, and you could work or something off to the side. And, you know, it's kind of like you're on an airplane. You know, are you going to stare out the window the whole time? Well, you know, maybe if you're flying. But most people that are, you know, sitting on an airplane and just kind of relaxing, I don't think they're staring out the window the whole time. You know, they find something else to do. And it's, you know, it's flying, and once in a while you might want to look out the window and like, oh, cool. And there is some sightseeing that goes on during the flights. I will point out, there'll be like a little title on the screen, like, hey, there's Miami, there's Jacksonville, or, you know, whatever the case is. So that way you can kind of look at it and it's like, oh, well, that's cool. And that you know where we're at. And I've done those cinematics on FSX, and I've done one on Prepared, and I've got 3 videos out for Flight Simulator 4. Now see, this is kind of what I was mentioning before. It's like we're just sitting here flying for who knows how long before ATC decides to talk to us and route us around again. Okay, I think the airport is over there.
Bonanza 21 Sierra, turn left heading 050.
Turn left, heading 050, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
Did they say 250 or 50? Oh, yeah, not the number 2. Like you're going in the direction 2. Okay, 250. Okay, gotcha. That's 40. Move to 50. Come on, just a little bit more. There you go. And as you can see, the airport is nowhere in sight. Who knows where they're directing us? Yeah, let's just take you 10 miles out and then we'll turn you this way. What's going on? Oh, I'm turning. I am turning. That's not a good thing. Let's turn back. The performance of the planes feels much better, with the exception of the ground steering. But we found out the brakes help with that. For the most part, it feels decent. Not realistic, but you know, it feels decent. The scenery is just a little it just kind of bothers me. So that may be a game breaker to you. You know, you may want to have, obviously it's not going to be fantastic scenery, but you know, if you're going from ProPilot or ProPilot USA to this, you know, you may be quite disappointed. That's okay. That's why we're doing these flights. That's why these simulators are flying the same flight plan with each other, well, as much as they can. So that way, you know, you can take a look at a flight that interests you and then compare them, you know, if you want to compare them. So here we go. We're just kind of flying. Is that engine too loud? I'm like looking at my recording meters. Looks okay. Maybe I should turn it down just a tad. Turn it down just a tad. Yeah, that might be better. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we'll turn it back where it is. Where's the airport? Is that it? Is that it? Right there in the middle? Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, so see how we're just kind of flying around here? Does it have the ILS information? Doesn't look like it. Okay, there it is. So we're not completely far away. We're just, but do you see how we're on the same? When we first approached it, it's like we're going around. By the way, something that I didn't mention in regards to the USA map versus the Europe map, you can't fly from the USA to Europe. As much as it would be nice to do that, they're just two different playing fields, just two different maps. So you would need to pretend that you're flying over the ocean. I guess they figured Who wants to spend that much time flying over the ocean? Although there is time acceleration on this. You can accelerate the time so that way, you know, if you're doing a cross-country flight, you know, it's not going to take you 4 or 5 hours to do it. But we don't like that here. We like to have realistic flight. I don't know. This is probably less than realistic, but you know what I mean. The full flight. Give you the full experience. There's not as much chatter on this too, I've noticed. The ProPilot USA...
21 Sierra, turn left heading 320.
Turn left, heading 320, Bonanza 21 Sierra.
ProPilot USA has got more chatter going on. But hey, I guess it's better than nothing. You didn't get ATC with Flight Simulator 98 or Flight Simulator 2000. That wasn't introduced until 2002. But you did have the absolutely amazing ProFlight 98 for Flight Simulator 98. And for Flight Simulator 2000, you had the ProFlight 2000. Now, did you guys know that I have magical abilities? I can make stuff just appear out of thin air. I have a drink that I just went poof. And it's like, oh, wow, drink. Or I could just be honest and say that I did a quick little edit right there. So for ProPilot, hello Shadow. Are you my... You're my familiar, aren't you? You're my magic familiar. Yeah, the last thing I want you to do is jump up here and spill my drink. I would not be happy with you. Meow. Go sit down, boy. I mean, go sit on the chair, not right there. Having cats in an airplane is probably not a good idea. I guess I will sit the drink on the floor. Okay, I'll pet you. I knew you were going to jump up here. Do you want to say hi? Say hi. Say hi to all my friends on the internet. But don't lay on the keyboard. You can lay on my work keyboard. I'm not going to do anything over there. No, don't sit on the mouse. Go sit over here. Now you rub your head into my hand because you want pets. Come on, ATC. Stop jacking us around. Just so you know, we're not going to be using the ATC on every flight. Because that's going to get ridiculous. Although I've been using it on every flight on ProPilot USA, it works nicely. I'm you know, if with the different ProPilots, I really recommend the ProPilot USA. I think you guys will be happy with that one. It's got a nice balance of everything. The performance on the planes is not bad. The ATC just works a lot better. And hey, the graphics don't look like, you know, tiles on the ground. You don't have Western Europe, you know, but you got the United States, so there's plenty of places to fly. Yeah. They're just kind of flying us around in a circle. Hopefully. They said runway 118, right? So maybe we'll be put on base here soon. Because runway 14 is going to be one of these right here. So let's hope. Because if we wind up bypassing that, I'm going to cancel ATC and we're going to land this bird. Okay, boy, I need I need room for my hand so I can use the mouse. He just flicks his tail all over the place. I think the ATC will work better. Well, it's still going to route you around an airport.
Sierra, turn left heading 230.
Turn left, heading 230, Bonanza 210.
But I think you'll like it better with longer flights. And that's probably what they had in mind when they designed it. Like, who's going to do a flight from Meigs to Chicago and use ATC? Me? What? Ow. I know you're there. Think we'll land anytime soon? So we're not far away yet. Like I was saying, runway 14's right there. I'm going to switch to our other fuel tank. If you hit F, that switches it. I think after a while you get used to the graphics. I think. I don't know. It reminds me of the first textures that showed up on Flight Simulator 5, and then they improved it with Flight Simulator 98, and then it's like Flight Simulator 2000 was doing the whole 3D accelerated stuff, so then it wasn't as bad as this, though. We saw this airport before, so you notice that there looks like we're going right around to that airport again. I'm gonna lower the last thing of flaps. Of course, our speed is dropping quite a bit. Look at that. We completely passed the airport. Alright. We're going to turn and make our way back to the airport. I had this same problem when I did the first flight here. I think it's just too... it's too close or something. I don't know. It's not able to keep her altitude. Okay, we're going to turn that off. Oh, that's weird. I turned off the autopilot. It didn't make any noises. It did when I was playing it on PC emulator. It would go beep, beep, beep. Of course, it kind of stuttered at the same time.
Bonanza 21 Sierra, turn right heading 240.
Turn right heading 240. Bonanza 21 Sierra.
No, I'm not going through all that again. ATC! Cancel! We are canceling you. I think there is a keyboard command to do that. Yeah, so we're not going to be doing this ATC on the next several flights because I don't think that's going to work very well. But some of the longer ones, it may work better. Now, like I was saying, ProPilot USA was not like this at all. Yes, it did put me into a holding pattern, but it was more closer around the airport. It wasn't taking me like 10 miles away from it and going around in circles. That's ridiculous. And we had gone around it like once, and then, you know, the runway that they wanted us to land on is right there and just takes us right by it. I did have a little bit of problem with speed in ProPilot USA. So it's like you would full flaps and throttles all the way down, and you were still coming in like a jet. This one seems more controlled though, so definitely good improvement there. You know, it's like they were almost there as far as the simulator was concerned. They made a change with the ATC. I don't know what it was, but it just does not work as good as it did before. Oh, landing gear. That might be a good thing. Yep, and this is runway 14. Ooh. Come on, Shadow, stop being a pest. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn off here. Now, if it wasn't taking us the scenic route, it would say turn off any intersection. You'd switch to ground, go and taxi to the ramp, and that would be the end of your ATC. Whoops. There we go. Making use of our brakes. So we can make those little sharp turns there. So you might as well use the brake to turn. That actually works pretty decently. He always does that when he wants attention. He jumps on my table back here and slides up against stuff. Can't you just sit down on the chair? You could be my co-pilot. Very quiet co-pilot. I think we can take this taxiway. Now he's knocking stuff down because I'm not paying attention to him. This is why I don't like having you in here, because every time I do a recording, you do this. And I know you don't care. I don't understand. Just give me attention. Now he's knocking more stuff off. You were such a pest. And we'll just park right over here. Oh, something else I noticed too. In the other prior two versions, the OBS 2 was it had an ADF there instead, and you had to use a like Alt-N to change it to OBS number 2, but it didn't work on every aircraft. Wait a minute, it's still there. The ADF is on top. I just now noticed that. I wonder, let's do Alt-N. Nope! Don't work on this one. See, it makes no sense. There's a nav 1 and a nav 2, but there's only one OBS. I don't know. Alright, we're here. I forgot to turn my landing lights on. Oh well. Turn off the batteries. We'll switch our fuel off. And we'll go ahead and turn this off. Oh, will you stop it? Okay, folks. Took us forever, but we're here at Chicago O'Hare. I'm going to have to take care of Shadow. But anyhow, I hope this gives you an idea of what this is like as far as the different little aspects of it. Using the ATC, obviously it's a pain. If you want to see how it should work, watch the ProPilot USA video. It's not as long as this one, and it's just smooth. It's a much smoother experience. I really like that. Not so much on this one. This has got some great qualities to it, and then it's like they made things good and then they broke other things. So annoying. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Helps out the channel, but it also helps out other viewers like yourself. It helps recommend the video to other people, so other people who might be looking for this kind of video will be able to see it. So do thumbs up, that really helps. Help each other out on that. Also subscribe, be a part of the KILR community. We'd love to have you. We're a fun community. And notification bell, ring that taco bell, so that way you'll be notified when there's another video that's uploaded to the channel. I try to get videos up all the time. I'm working on trying to get a video up every day. Not always Flight Simulator, but trying to do what I can to get a steady flow of videos coming out, so that way there's going to be plenty of variety for you guys to watch. So the notifications will help you with that, and plus let you know when the next ProPilot video comes out. But anyhow, appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next leg of our journey.